Well, Nicksy, Thursday, I know sometimes I like to keep it close to the chest, but can we expect any selection news today?
Not the final, I guess, team, but we've still got to get a session done this morning, which we're about to go through. But the pleasing part at the moment is we've got some pressure coming from the guys who haven't been selected over the last few weeks. They're playing some good footy, and we've got a group that are, back to the footy they were playing consistently last year. So there will be some decisions to be made. In saying that, we like to stick with a group that are getting the job done. So I wouldn't see too many changes this week coming.
In saying that, Dan Curtin debut went pretty well, showdown win, you ticked that box. What did you like from him in the game and what he's brought this week, kind of, building on that debut?
Yeah, I loved his composure. And you look at it and you go 52,000, in a showdown game, the pressure doesn't get much more than that. And the game was hot early, and I thought he was a big part of our composure in moments where our opposition controlled the game for different periods. And he was part of that back 6 or 7 players that showed some real maturity. For a young group, they hung in there, they defended really well, they helped each other. He was a big part of that. So really pleased. In the end, we made a decision, to bring some experience into that back line for the last quarter. And we were really pleased with the 3 quarters that Dan had put in up to that point.
You touch on players pushing from below. Harry Schoenberg, obviously been out for a long time, but looked really good against Port. Is he a chance to come in, if not next week, if not this week, in the next couple of weeks? Yeah,
look, he's, from a performance point of view, he's knocking on the door and saying, hey, I'm ready. I thought he looked fantastic even in the first couple of games back. He's the work he's done in the off-season, in his rehab, is a credit to him. And he's been doing that, with Nick Murray. And so he's got a guy there that's working super hard. So they've pushed each other. Rory Sloane's been a big part of the reason he's come back in such good condition, or both Murray and Schoenberg. So, yes, look, he's in my opinion, ready to play AFL football. And now it's just a matter of that opportunity being there for him to come in. And the 22 or 3 that are playing at the moment are saying, well, we're getting the job done, we're connected, there's good cohesion in the group. So we're not going to make a change there unless we feel like it's going to make the side better.
Burnsy suggested at the start of the week you don't need your senior guys playing every week and all 4 quarters. Is there any rush to get Brodie Smith back out of the sub-vest, or in a situation like this where he's had a niggle, do you potentially use that to your advantage and let him keep building slowly?
Yeah, there's no rush. The decision we make there is, again, comes back to what we think is best for that particular game, and where individuals are at, and we'll continue to use that 23rd player or the sub role, and we use that as an impact player. We'll continue to use that throughout the year, and it'd be nice to be able to use it and make that decision, because we've got a lot of players ready to play at the level. It's the key to a lot of sides is, what's the injury rate, what sort of pressure's coming from below, from your seconds team. It always makes the group above play with that little bit more intent when they know that someone's coming for their position. And so we'll continue to look at that impact role or the sub role, because we know it's a long season. I think Brodie will benefit from last week's, not a freshen up as such, but an easier lead in for him coming off a sore back.
Where do you think Brodie's at long term? Obviously you've got a lot of young defenders when you look at the rest of the back line, not too many games between them, and he's out of contract at the end of the year. Where do you think he's at long term? Yeah,
I think he's super important to our group. The experience he brings to what is a young back line, as you mentioned, we won't take that for granted. I thought last week that young back line were superb the way they went about it for 3 quarters. But we were pleased to have him ready to go in that last quarter when we knew our opposition were going to come at us. And that'll continue right throughout the year. Brodie's form, I thought, prior to the back tightening up, I thought he started to find, get himself back to his best again. And so we're confident that he's going to come back and impact the game in a substantial way when we do decide to bring him back in for a full game.
Just on Brisbane, obviously a lot's been made of the injuries they suffered last week and the emotional toll that can have on a team. Do you have to guard against complacency at all? And what's been your experience like when you're dealing to play against teams who have had those kind of devastating losses 1 week before? Do they come out even more motivated, after something like that?
Yeah, well, that's what we saw on the weekend. We saw a Brisbane side that dug in, and it was an incredibly gutsy win. To have the injuries that they've had and to still have the next guy ready to step up. And in that game, to not just have the next guy ready to step up, to be able to hang in there with limited rotations, I thought it was and I think Fags may have mentioned it post game. It was one of their best wins that they've been in, just because of the guts they showed. So it can be a dangerous thing when you come up against a side that has a lot of injuries, because you get a lot of players coming in that are hungry, that want to show what they've got, and that's what we saw last week from Brisbane. I thought it was an amazing effort to get across the line.
Your last game against them up there, ultimately one of the ones that cost you the final, was a pretty gutting game by a goal. Do you still have a bit between your teeth wanting to sort of avenge that one?
There are a lot of games last year that we lost by less than a kick, or a couple of kicks, and so we don't necessarily look back on one particular game. The seasons, we take the season as a whole. We want to put ourselves in positions where we're not relying on the luck of a bounce here or there. We want to be a team that doesn't need luck. I think you make your own luck, and a lot of that comes with hard work, and that's what we've been doing. We haven't started this season as well as we'd like, but we feel like we've found our groove a little more now. I think the last month has been a pretty solid month of footy. That's our focus at the moment, is just to continue with that consistency of effort, and the results look after themselves.
In saying that, I think you said at the start of the year a lot, we're close, and there was probably some frustration from fans when you're zipping 3, but now the last month you've looked excellent. Is there a little bit of indication for yourself that you thought you were close, and you probably knew you were close, but now you're actually getting those results?
It's about our belief. It becomes our belief, really, and when you are a young group, sometimes the outcome can be important just to build that belief a little more. Our players still knew after 4 rounds this season that we weren't that bad, and I've used that line a lot. We're not that bad, and you're not that good. And so at the moment, we just want to stay in that sweet spot. The belief's always there, but definitely winning games of footy just instills that little bit more, and you're able to get it done, look back on what did get the win, and use that going into the next week. But we also know that you're never that good either, so the last thing you need to do is get ahead of yourselves, and at the moment we just want to put some consistent performance out there, and we'll need to this week. It'll be another huge battle for us.
How important is the 10-day break between games been? I think you're able to manage a few of the boys on the track 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's been a welcome, slightly longer break this one. We had some shorter ones. We had a 5-dayer into showdown, so probably one that we welcomed. In saying that, we'll go to work this morning. We'll get straight back into contest, and it's one of those ones as coaches and even as footy clubs, I think what's better, a short break or a long break? We still haven't quite worked that out. You don't want to have too long off, otherwise you can lose some momentum. But this week's been a nice freshen up for us.
Last couple of words.
What was your reaction to the rumours of Dangerfield coming back to the Crows, and is there any truth whatsoever in that?
It's one of those ones where we've spoken a lot about when it comes to our list management. We don't discuss players from other footy clubs, and we haven't done that right the way through, and we won't start that now.